always, I'm Mark.
And I'm Hans, and welcome back, everybody. Week 3 is here.
Yes.
Just got through week 2. Very interesting games. Even more interesting games this week. I'm very excited. A couple matchups I want to talk about. We're going to recap last week. Mainly, one game I want to recap is our lock of the week that we both got wrong last week.
Yes.
And we'll go from there. But how you doing, Mark?
I'm good. Yeah, the lock of the week, we both had the Chiefs over the Ravens. I feel the Chiefs were the better team. And again, if it wasn't for that fluke fumble,
and the better
Chiefs won.
The better team doesn't always win either. It doesn't always happen. But I will say this, the Ravens needed that win. That was huge.
Yes.
That was a big win in the AFC to prove that they can do it. It doesn't mean they'll do it again, but the fact that they did it means they can do it. They got that monkey off their back.
But my feeling is they're relying way too much on Lamar.
They are. I do like that they've brought in a few new running backs. I think that's helping.
But they don't run. They're not runners that run that offense. They're north-south runners. Like Murray doesn't run the read option. He can probably learn. But at the same time, he's a 30-year-old running back that is he set in his ways? I don't know, but I just feel it's a recipe for disaster, and that defense is proving that they can't stop people either.
For me, I think there's something that I don't want to say it. I don't really think it bothers me, but I keep seeing this over and over again where they keep posting touchdowns to interception ratio for Lamar Jackson and how great it is that they're not similar. But he averages a fumble or two at every single game. Yeah. And he had 3 that game. He lost 2, had 3. These are issues in week 1.
Yeah. I think he had a fumble. He had 2 interceptions, one for a pick 6 in that game.
These are decisions he can't be making. When you look at these games and you go back, you see that wide receivers, yes, they don't have the best. The defense played better than they should have. It was a good game. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. But you see Lamar in crunch time fumble it. I get that didn't happen. But it's situations like that where even though they won the game, Lamar has to just do better. He has to quit doing these decision-making because if he didn't make these decisions, it would have been even bigger of a game.
Yeah. But my game of the week, to be honest with you, was Raiders-Steelers.
It was a good game.
Both teams showed me a little something in this game. Raiders more than Steelers. I picked the Steelers to win, and the Raiders beat them up. The Raiders beat them at what the Steelers do, and I'm a little on the fence right now because last year, damn, that got loud.
Sorry.
Last year, the Raiders sort of did the same thing.
Yeah.
Came out hot, fizzled at the end. So I'm not going to be on the Raiders train as of yet, but Derek Carr is proving that he can win in this league. And if you give him a solid defense, he's good. And they shut Waller down. And to the point where Waller wasn't the number 1 targeted person on their team. He had his yards. He had few catches in yards. But Ruggs, Drake, they spread the ball around, and he hit who he had to hit. And when he had to have a throw, it was a dime to Ruggs, and that was just beautiful to watch. But that was the game of the week for me because I think both these teams are very interesting going forward. Where I still don't believe in the Steelers, but I'm starting to believe in the Raiders.
Yeah.
So that was interesting. Obviously, the Titans, Seahawks pulled the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't believe in the Seahawks. That's why I picked them to finish last in the division, because the Seahawks will have games just like that, or stretches just like that, where they're hot and then they're ice cold.
Yep.
And they were up 24 to something.
Yeah, it was
blowing
low.
them out,
Yeah.
and then you let it go to overtime, and it wasn't like they were throwing the ball all over you. They ran the ball down your throat, and you couldn't stop it. And when you're up by that much and you can't stop the run,
that's one of my biggest pet peeves in football, and I would say it mainly happens in football. You'll occasionally see it in basketball, those Golden State days. I hate when teams take their foot off the gas. It bothers me, and I get they do that for a lot of reasons. But I saw it, and I'm going to use my college football team over the weekend. We had a really big win, but we were up 24-7 at the half. We were doing great. We won the game 27-24. because we took our foot off the gas after that time because we had a lead. I want to see teams continue to shove their foot and curb stomp the other team. The Seahawks should never have let them come back.
Right.
There's a lot of games like that where I'm like, I don't care if you're, like, again, 28-3. Something with the Super Bowl with the Falcons few years back. Patriots should have never came back, but they're like, we're winning, we got this ring, and look what happened, you lost. Teams have to stop taking their foot off the gas because the game is how long? 60 minutes. You have to play till the last whistle. And unfortunately, Seattle, well, that's their problem, is they don't do that. When they do have a lead, they take their foot off the gas, they get comfortable, they run it 2 or 3 straight times, 2 or 3 drives, and they're like, oh, we ran 6 straight times with Carson. Now they're up 4. Now they're tied with us,
right?
Because they got comfortable,
right? Now our upset of the week was Cowboys over the Chargers.
Yep.
And we both got that. Obviously, the Cowboys won.
Yep.
2 takeaways from that game for me, and I'll let you respond. I know we talk a lot about the Cowboys, so I don't want to dwell on this one, but I had 2 takeaways from this. Well, technically, I'll have 3 takeaways. The refs were awful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both ways.
Both ways. Horrid. It was the worst game I've ever watched in my life.
Chargers beat themselves.
Bad.
I don't think the Cowboys didn't do anything to lose.
No.
The Chargers did.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys did enough to win. But the Cowboys won the way I always think they have to win.
Running the ball.
Yes. And it's almost to the point. I'm going to shout out to Chandler. You better listen. He said last year, Pollard is better than Zeke. And everybody laughed at him. I think Zeke fits this. I think Pollard fits this offense better than Zeke. And you're hurting yourselves by keeping Zeke because you're ruining the trade value. So does that make sense?
No, it does. And I'm going to kind of split what you said into 2 segments, then we can move on. For me with Zeke, and maybe this is coming off a bit as a fan, but I think I agree with both of you. I think Pollard right now is the more dynamic running back and has the hot hand. The problem that concerns me is the exact same thing Mike McCarthy said and the same thing Dak Prescott said. When Zeke's on the field, the other team puts 7 in the box and goes after Zeke. When Pollard was on the field, they didn't play like that. Mm-hmm. So my concern is, and this isn't being a homer here, is Pollard has the hot hand right now. But it's why Kareem Hunt is so successful, is because when Chubb's in, they know it's going to Chubb. When Zeke's in, it's more than likely going to go to Zeke. Zeke still had a 100-yard game, 97. Yep. My point I'm saying is if we got rid of Zeke, which I think would not be a bad idea for someone like the Ravens, try to get a good deal out of it and use Pollard. But my guess is after a few weeks, if we use Pollard like this, teams will figure it out. My concern is he gets lucky because once every 5 games, Pollard pops off. But can he do that every week?
Okay.
That's my only thing.
You compared him to Hunt.
Yeah.
Fair, because it's the dual running back.
Exactly.
A 60-30 timeshare.
Hunt wouldn't be as good starting, I don't think, as if he is as a backup.
But remember when Hunt was a starter in Kansas City? He was the number 1 running back in football.
He was.
And he was CMC before CMC. Yep. I believe he was CMC before CMC, or he was
more than likely.
He was close to 1,000, and that is what I feel you could have with Pollard. Not maybe 1,000, but you could have 800.
See, and I think Pollard is a lot more elusive, and I think he fits the offense better. And I think if the opportunity is there to get a trade, first round, maybe late first round, or even a second or third for Zeke, I say you take it. I get you have to divorce the Zeke and Dak thing, but going forwards, Zeke is not getting you what he got paid worth. Now, I do like him as a blocker. He's doing fantastic. He was doing great at that in that Buccaneers game. But he is not a $12 million blocker. You don't pay somebody for that. He is RB1 money, and somebody who needs an RB should trade for him. So I will say I do like the idea of Pollard. I love him. He's one of my favorite players on the team. He's very underrated. But my only concern is if Zeke's not there and he gets full-time running, does it take 4 or 5 games and he just becomes another average running back because they figured him out?
So fantasy. So before we put this to bed, I'm going to ask a fantasy question. Because Hunt is a flex option every week. Is Pollard a flex option every week right now?
Not enough tape.
Okay.
But I will say, if you have Pollard on your team, he should absolutely be thought about. Because this is my point, and I'll say this and move on. This really isn't a Dallas thing. I want to say Pollard is a flex option behind Zeke. Zeke probably RB1, and they may be even meeting at RB2 in the middle. The concern I have is that Dallas has so many other weapons. The Browns don't. So my concern is, can they keep 2 valuable running backs every week like the Browns do, with also having 3 fantasy wide receivers?
Okay.
I just don't think it's enough touches. I think one is going to have to run the ball majority of the time.
Okay.
And I really don't mind them doing what they did against the Chargers. A little bit of both.
Yeah.
Who cares if they both only get 50 yards each? They're both dynamic, and they both do their thing.
Right. And then last thing to put a bow on week 1 and 2. Tough luck team of the year right now is the Vikings. Like I kind of feel bad for them because they should be 2-0 and they lost in overtime and then they miss a field goal to win the game against the Cardinals in a very good game. And both teams played very well offensively, played awful defensively. Yeah. But I just feel they're the tough luck losers of the first 2 weeks.
0-2, though.
Yep.
Sucking it up. Better work harder.
So last night was Panthers Texans.
Yep.
We both picked the Panthers to win. 3-0 now.
Mm-hmm.
But they did lose CMC, and he's probably not playing next week.
Yeah, I don't think he's playing next week.
Can this team win without CMC?
I like Chuba Hubbard a lot, and this is being a Big 12 kind of fan. He's a good running back, but I don't think he will. Do you know who they play next week?
No.
I think they play Dallas next week.
Okay.
I don't think they want to go into that game, or any team, and I'm not. This isn't saying Dallas is good because they still have a long way to go. I don't think you want to play anybody but the Jets right now or Houston without CMC. He's just dynamic.
Okay.
But I will say a takeaway from that game: Adam Gase is a bad coach.
Oh, hell yeah.
Sam Darnold, and we both talked about this. Everybody knows this, and he has like 3 wins in his career.
No,
but me and you both know this, and we've said it on the podcast. We've said it to the guys. If you're listening to this, we've said for years that Sam Darnold would be a better quarterback on any other team. Even before we re-signed Dak, I talked about finding a way for Dallas to trade for Sam Darnold because I think his potential is that good. Okay. And look at him now. Go ahead. And you
no, the Adam Gase thing. Logan posted this.
Yeah.
Okay, in our group chat.
Must have missed
Marshall High School's first year without Adam Gase wins state title. LSU's first year without Adam Gase wins the national championship. Peyton Manning, first year without Adam Gase, wins the Super Bowl. Ryan Tannehill's first year without Adam Gase, comeback player of the year. Sam Darnold's first year without Adam Gase, so far 3-0. Like I don't know how Adam Gase is ever going to get a job in the NFL again.
I don't know. Jeff Fisher got jobs forever.
Yeah, but
and he was a career.
That's bad.
I mean that's worse.
So
now I do want to say something before we move into the games this week.
Yep.
I'm gonna go down the list real quick. There's 3 of these teams I wanted to mention: Broncos, Raiders, and now 3-0, the Panthers. Who's real? Who's legit? Or who's benefiting off an easy schedule? Do you think it's the Raiders is the most legit? Like, of those 3, who's the imposter among them? Is it the Broncos? Because these 3 teams, there's a chance that none of these 3 end up finding the way to the playoffs. They don't.
I'm going to say, even though the Raiders played a very tough schedule, Ravens and Steelers, very tough. Broncos beat the Jaguars, and the Broncos beat the Giants. I'm going to say the Broncos simply because of who they've played. I've always believed in Sam Darnold. If CMC is hurt, they need a Mike Davis performance out of Chuba Hubbard. In order to be legit.
He's a good running back.
But
He's a big boy.
I feel you can win with Sam Darnold.
I do too.
I think that division is a lot tougher than people thought, especially because the Panthers are better. But I love the coaching job that Rule's doing. I don't believe in the Broncos simply because I think they've benefited from a weak schedule. But there's a reason why Bridgewater is on another team again. And I just feel that he's a very good game manager, and I feel like you will win games you're supposed to win with him, but can you win the games you're not supposed to win?
He is, and not in a mean way, an average quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing to be in this league. He's not the quarterback to make a stupid fourth quarter fumble. He's not that guy. But he's also not the guy that's going to have 400 yards and 4 TDs. He's not going to do that. He's just going to be the standard 1980s quarterback. Like, there's nothing special and flashy about it.
Right.
So we can go into the games now.
Okay. So first game up is Bengals-Steelers.
Okay, so we're not in the same order.
Well, the Bengals-Steelers are always first on mine because the Bengals are...
that makes sense.
But Bengals-Steelers is the first game that we'll say.
Yeah, that's fine.
But the Bengals don't beat the Steelers. They did last year at home, late in the season. This last game for the Bengals was so heartbreaking because the defense played well enough to win. And the offense, 3 straight possessions, 3 straight passes, 1 pick six, and 2 picks. And they scored 10 points off of those 2 points, 3 turnovers. And then the Bengals came back and made it a game, but it was too late. The defense only gave up 10 points. And I was so disappointed with the offense. The offense isn't taking chances. Take the damn reins off and let him play. He's proving he's not hurt. Let him freaking play. And for Chase to only have 3 targets and 2 catches is ridiculous. T. Higgins is now doubtful this week.
Yeah, I just saw. I don't think he's playing.
So if he's not playing, I feel that they're going to bracket Chase on the outside, and this is going to be a huge Boyd game. And if Boyd can pop off, I think the Bengals defense is good enough to stop the Steelers. I just don't know if the Bengals offense is good enough to beat the Steelers defense. So I'm picking the Steelers, mainly track record, and mainly because of last week. It was so disheartening to see a game you should have won that you lost.
Yep.
I still think the Bengals are better than what their record's going to be. I just think this team needs to figure out how to be more consistent.
Yeah.
And I don't think going into Pittsburgh and playing in that environment with that rivalry, with the history of the Steelers just owning them, I just have the Steelers winning this game.
So I will say, I think the Bengals, just like I said a few weeks ago, are in that situation of can they figure it out? Dallas, DC, Giants, Bengals, these are all teams I put in that middle 10 to 25 tier. The teams that could be the worst or could be one of the best. The Bengals are that team for me. And week 1, I was like, wow, Joe Burrow looked good. Last week, I didn't see that the same way. But again, not every interception is on the quarterback. I know that sounds stupid. There is reasons in rhyme, a blitz scheme behind you, or your arm was hit. There's a lot of reasons behind it. But I was not impressed with Joe Burrow. But I will say this. I went down my list of games. This is my upset of the week.
Is it?
Yes. I have the Bengals winning this game. I have a gut feeling that Joe Burrow won't do that twice.
Okay.
I do think the Bengals O-line is worse than people think. I will say fans, I don't think it's that good. The defense it looked good to me. I think they're good enough to get it done. They have a fantastic running back. Very underrated. Doesn't ever get any credit he deserves. They are going to be without, we just said his names, I forgot. T. Higgins, thank you. But for some reason, I just don't think the secondary of the Steelers is going to stop the offense weapon. The Bengals remind me times of just like I don't want to beat the dead horse, but of Dallas in ways where you have so many options, even without T. Higgins playing, or T. Higgins. There's other options. You have backup wide receivers that are still really good. Like Dallas was without Michael Gallup last week, and you didn't even notice that our 4th wide receiver had 100 yards. No one even knew that. So I kind of feel like this is a trap game for the Steelers, and I think the Bengals get it done. My upset of the week.
All right. Washington versus Buffalo.
Okay.
Washington, I said it at the end of last week. Washington's defense worries me.
Yes.
The offense, I think Heineke is a good quarterback. I think the offense believes in him. I don't think they run the ball enough.
No.
And they rely on his arm too much. In this game, you're going to have to figure out a balance. You're going to have to run the ball. But Buffalo, I feel, is the better team. But if Washington's defense figures it out, this is going to be a This is going to be a drag out, punch 'em out, fight. And I just think the Bills are the better team, and so I picked the Bills to win.
I have the Bills as well. Washington's defense, I like how you scares me, but not in the way other people would use it. They worry me. They scare me that all this hype was on being a top 5 defense. They're not right now.
Yep.
And I don't know what it is, and they're like, we don't have Fitzpatrick. I'm like, but you don't get to use that excuse. And I know the guys in the group aren't using it. They like Heineke. I like Heineke. I liked him at Old Dominion. I think the issue you're dealing with is I don't think they were ready. And what I mean by this is let me rephrase that. Going into this season, we talked about Dallas, we talked about DC, we talked about the Giants, we talked about the Eagles. Nobody knows what those 4 teams have at all. Giants were bad. Dallas was completely injured. The DC won the division at 7-9 or whatever it was. All these teams really weren't that good. There was a division winner in a team that wasn't that good. Same thing with Dallas, same thing with Giants. So Maybe they're not good. Maybe Dallas isn't. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But so far, I haven't seen the Washington that I picked to win 10 games. I haven't seen them yet, and this is a really tough game at Buffalo.
Yeah.
This is not a fun schedule right now. I got the Bills winning this game.
Okay. All right. Bears-Browns. This was almost my upset of the week. I have a different game that's my upset of the week, but I have the Bears winning this game. It's on the road, which I think is going to be better for the Bears. They won a game defensively last week. Fields came on and, to be honest with you, didn't show me anything that showed me he's the perennial starter for this team going forward. They played better with Dalton than they did with Fields.
Because Dalton's a better quarterback.
But
right now,
a week of preparing him, a week of getting the offense to where you want it to be with him in there, I feel is going to be a good game. And I have the Browns just too hurt on offense. Who are you going to throw the ball to?
Well, Odell's playing. Odell is playing.
Who are you going to throw the ball to?
I get it.
Landry was that guy that he trusts. I don't know if he trusts Odell enough. And yes, your running backs are dynamic. I love their running backs. I really do. I think it's the best running back tandem in football.
By far.
And I just feel the Bears' defense is better against the run than they are the pass. And since you're lacking in the pass, I feel the Bears can pull this out in an ugly sort of way.
So we're actually differing a lot this week. I have the Browns for many reasons. One, I haven't seen anything out of Jalen Hurts that prepares me. What I mean by this is he came in last week and I didn't see
Jalen Hurts isn't the quarterback.
I'm sorry. Fields. Sorry. I don't know why I was thinking Jalen Hurts. I'm thinking of the Eagles game because I just looked at it. Justin Fields, to me, people are like, well, he's going to be great. And the word is gonna. He's not great right now. He came in, and Dalton looked better. He didn't look good. Here's my thing. Who'd they play last week? I don't remember. I don't remember the game.
The Bears?
Yeah.
The Bengals.
Okay, that's what I thought. So the Bengals defense is not the Browns defense. Let's be clear. And he threw a bad pass against the Bengals defense. That's not going to happen against the Browns defense. It's top 5 in the league. I just don't think this is fun for him, but I will say he has a dynamic that he can use his legs. That is helpful for any time there's a blitz coming in. It's good. I see a really close game, but the Bear. I just feel like Justin Fields is going to be the reason they lose this game.
Okay. All right. Ravens, Lions, Ravens. I don't want to say anything more. I just don't think the Lions can figure it out defensively. I think offensively they're decent. They're better than what people thought. But I think the Ravens are going to destroy them.
Even though we give the Ravens hell, Lamar Jackson is dynamic, and his ability to run, if you don't have a good enough defense, you're not stopping him.
Right.
This is an easy pick for me.
Yes. One of the games of the week for me, Titans-Colts. It's Colts at the Titans. The Titans, I would have picked the Colts this week if the Titans lost last week, if that makes any sense. But the Titans proved to me they have heart. They proved to me that they are going to just stick to the game plan and do what they have to do. The Colts are starting Eason, I believe, which I think is it's okay. He doesn't scare me. That offense doesn't scare me at all.
I think he's better for that offense right now than Carson Wentz is because he can't stay healthy.
Taylor isn't playing the way I thought he was going to. The wide receivers aren't scary at all. The Titans figured out how to use Julio, but they haven't figured out how to use A.J. Brown Julio and Henry at the same time. That's going to happen soon. And I think this could be the week to do it. Where the Colts aren't as good defensively as everybody thought they were going to be. Again, the whole Washington thing again.
I think the Colts might be one of the most, maybe there with Washington, it's still early, way too early to be a very over-projected team from the start.
But this is going to be the Colts being 0-3 if they lose.
I know.
And you're not making the playoffs.
And you know what you gave up to get the quarterback who hasn't played.
Right. So it's, I'm picking the Titans to win this game. It's an AFC South battle.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be close, but I think Tennessee wins.
I got Tennessee.
Another very big matchup.
Yeah.
Surprisingly big because you would think the Chargers would have, the Chiefs would have been 2-0. Chargers are 1-1, so both teams are 1-1. This is a very good game. I am not impressed. Like, you changed coaches in San Diego because your team wasn't disciplined and couldn't win down the stretch. Like, you fell apart in the fourth quarter. This team is still not disciplined, and they still aren't pulling it out in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And they are not. They're relying too much on the hype of Herbert.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need to be balanced.
Yeah.
And I understand Herbert is good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And yes, without penalties, they had 3 touchdowns called back because of penalties. And then you didn't even get points out of a couple of those
There was a lot
drives.
of on each side penalties. I was like, what kind of what it was bad, man.
So you're going into Kansas City, which is a lot of crowd noise, on a Chiefs team that just lost, and people are saying this Chiefs team is in trouble. I have a feeling this has got the capabilities of being a blowout, but I think the Chiefs pull it out. I think the Chiefs win. I'm not going to say it's a blowout, but the Chiefs win this game.
I have the Chiefs winning this game too. I think it's going to be close. I think it's within a touchdown.
Okay.
I think it'll be both. I think it'll be like a 35-28, 38-31. I think both teams score 3 to 4 touchdowns. The Chiefs defense is good, but the Chiefs defense has been really good, but it has not been good against quarterbacks that really, really are good at throwing the ball because their secondary, it's like the Buccaneers secondary. It's a little bit weak. And I could see Herbert throwing 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, but Mahomes winning.
Okay.
I could just see it.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's
I got
fair.
the Chiefs winning because they're not going to lose back-to-back games. That won't happen.
Okay. Saints at the Patriots. I went back and forth on this game. And the only reason why I picked the Patriots is because you see who the Patriots are.
Mm-hmm.
Both weeks, the Patriots played the same game plan and did very well. They're going to rely on their defense. And I just do not think the Saints have enough offensively.
No.
I think Winston is better than what he played last week, but he's not as... And again, I said it. I stressed it, too. He only threw for 184 yards. He had 5 touchdowns, but it was only 184 yards. And, 60 of it was on one pass. There's something wrong with this Saints team on offense. Kamara had 5 yards, and I think 13 yards receiving and 5 yards rushing. You can't allow your best player not to touch the ball 20 times a game. And there's something wrong with this team. I can't pinpoint it because it's not defensively. But I have the Patriots. I have Belichick figuring out a defense that's going to win this game. And I think Mac Jones isn't going to make mistakes. And Damian Harris, they're a late fumble away from being 2-0. And again, you can't, Kansas City, you're a late fumble away from being 2-0. But I have the Patriots winning this game. It's at Foxborough. I think that matters. And I think Mac Jones is right now, perfect game manager because he's not going to make that mistake. He's proven he's not going to take a chance just to take a chance.
Well, defense doesn't scare you either. That's the thing. The Saints defense doesn't scare you.
No, it should.
It should, but it doesn't.
At times, but it doesn't because you just...
And Mac Jones has the loading, like picture something loading slowly, the word it. It's loading to the word it. He's not there yet, but he's reading defenses better than I thought he would. He's getting it, but he's not there yet.
He's doing exactly what Belichick asked him to do that Cam couldn't do. Play within the offense. Play within yourself. We're telling you where you're going to go with the ball, and if you can't go there, you use the dump off. Like James White is undervalued in this league. And I do want to say that he's undervalued, like underrated, because he is 6-7 targets a game, and he is very good, and he will catch the ball. He doesn't fumble. You can rely on him. But I have the Patriots winning this game. How about...
So I have the same thing. I have the Patriots winning this game, and sometimes I pick games based off records. Sometimes I pick games off the previous week. I'm picking this game and one other game later based off of experience of the coach. Who is going to be prepared? People like, well, again, if you went in your head, you're like, well, they're playing the Saints. This just feels like a game that Belichick won't lose. He knows better. I'd love to know his head-to-head record against Sean Payton. I bet it's unreal. But this is the thing: the Patriots know what they have. Let's say they know they have an 8-8 team, or it'll be 9 and whatever. But the Saints don't know what they have.
Right.
That's the thing. I think the Patriots are way more prepared, and the Saints are actually a functional dumpster fire. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's the term I want to use. I think the Eagles are a dumpster fire at times, but I think the Saints are a functional... Actually, let me rephrase this. The Eagles are becoming more of a functional one. They kind of know what they're kind of building the right way, but they're still not good. The Saints are there, but the Saints are on the decline. I just don't see them winning this game. I think the Patriots are a better team.
Okay. So do you think this is a trap game for the Patriots, though, since
No.
Tom Brady's coming home next week?
I don't.
Okay.
I think Tom Brady's going to win at home next week. What?
I'm trying to. What you said, that was funny.
At home, where he's from? I mean,
Yeah. So-
again, yes, I know he's in Tampa Bay, but his home is Foxborough. That's where he
Yes.
made all of his success. So people he's returning home, and I was like, yeah, but he's in Tampa. But I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So are you looking up that stat?
I was trying, but I get frustrated trying to look up stats because then stupid shit comes up. So the worst game of the week is next.
Oh God.
Falcons versus the Giants.
Who cares?
Falcons showed me something against Tampa Bay, but again, it wasn't enough. And late in the game, Matt Ryan just fell apart through 2 pick sixes, and that game wasn't close. It was 28-25 at one point, and the Falcons had the ball. And then I think they lost 40-something to 28, or 40-something to 25. I have the Giants winning this game. I have the Giants coming through in a ugly game. The Giants showed me something last week, and they're a dumbass penalty away from winning that game, and them being 1-1 and DC being 0-2. So I have the Giants winning at home this week. I think their defense is going to shut down the Falcons, and I think their offense does enough against a very bad defense in order to win this game.
I have the Giants winning, and I don't have it because of Daniel Terrible Jones. I need a new name for him because when is it gonna happen? How long are they gonna ride this train? The same team, and pick a quarterback. Just pick one off the top of your head. Joe Burrow. This Giants team's a 10-win team.
Okay.
But I'm using the example that I have a hard time picking them because Daniel Jones just isn't improving.
Okay.
Saquon has not been himself. Whether we want to blame injury or use the same excuse we've used for Zeke, I don't know what it is. Saquon hasn't been himself. But the defense is why I'm picking the Giants. I think the defense for the Giants is way underrated, and I've seen better defensive play from them than DC this year in the NFC East.
Yep.
I got the Giants winning in a ugly game. I don't think it's going to be good.
Okay.
I think the different score will be a Giants pick 6 off of Matt Ryan. I think it'll be something like that, low scoring, 17-something.
Okay. Have we gotten to your lock of the week?
We have not.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss it.
Nope.
This is my lock of the week, the next game.
Okay.
Cardinals-Jaguars.
That's a good one. I should have picked that one.
The Jaguars are bad because they're coached badly.
Yeah.
That Urban Meyer is full of
dumpster
himself, and he's awful. He's awful. A couple years ago, wet booty was the big word of the year for us. I think dumpster fire could be the word of the year for us now, because this is, with Urban Meyer as head coach, a dumpster fire, and you will not win. I think they could easily go 0-16.
That'd be a good thing.
I mean, you get the number 1 pick, but
They get a defensive end from Oregon.
But the Cardinals scare me defensively, but the Jaguars are nowhere near a good offense.
No.
So I have the Cardinals absolutely trouncing them this week.
I got the Cardinals winning this game. I will say this. We'll talk about him later. Rondell Moore is very much impressing me, which I knew he was going to be. I had him as one of the top 3 in the draft, and I think he went, I don't know, like 6th or 7th overall. I'm sorry, out of all wide receivers. They have a lot of weapons, and the weapons you'd think they'd utilize as a top weapon isn't what they're using. They're using the rookie, Rondell Moore. They're really not using running backs as much as you'd think.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray's airing it out, and I didn't think it was going to be like this, but they remind me a lot of like a Chiefs, Buccaneers, Dallas, Bengals offense. They have so many weapons, and it's great. And I just don't think the Jaguars have anything to do to stop this team.
No.
Even though they're at home, I think the Cardinals going to win this game.
Okay, so one of the teams we talked about earlier that's 2-0, and you asked if they were believer, if we were, fake or for real. I just looked back. The Broncos, the opponents of the Broncos are 0-6. 0-6, and realistically, the Giants, if they beat the Falcons, they'll be 1-7. That the Broncos. I have the Broncos beating the Jets, because the Jets aren't good.
Yeah.
But you still can't say the Broncos are good.
No.
And so it's hard for me to say, and like when you asked that question, I said who did I say was fake?
Broncos.
because you don't know who they are. Like, you're playing 3 of the worst teams in the league.
Yep.
And if they play the Falcons next week, I'm going to lose my shit. Like, that is just like...
They play Houston.
You know? But I have the Broncos winning this game, not because they're good, but because the Jets are that bad.
I have the Broncos winning because their defense is better than the Jets' defense, who underratingly isn't a bad defense. The Jets have always had a good defense, but I think the Broncos' defense is better, and I think the weapons on offense, even though it may be Bridgewater, the weapons that they have on offense are better. The tight end is better in Denver. The running backs, both starter and bench, not Kareem Hunt. Why do I always get his name wrong?
Ingram?
Thank you. No, it's not Ingram in Broncos.
The running back?
Yeah.
Yeah, Melvin Ingram.
Oh, Melvin Ingram. Sorry, I got his last name
and
wrong.
Williams is the rookie.
I got Ingram, the other running back Ingram, mixed up
Mark
with him.
Ingram?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my problem. I was like, he didn't go there. He was on the Houston.
It's not Ingram, is it?
And
Melvin Ingram, yeah. It's
Melvin Gordon.
Melvin Gordon.
That's why you got
sorry.
me f***ed up, man. I was like, wait, it's definitely Melvin something. I was like, didn't he play for the backup with Eckler? Like,
All right.
Okay, but the point is, I just think they're overall better team, and the Jets just aren't good. So,
Okay.
Broncos.
Dolphins, Raiders. Tua's not playing.
Yep.
Ruled out. Jacoby Brissett is a starter in the league. I feel like he can start in the league.
33rd, 34th best quarterback, maybe even higher than that.
You know, this is going to be my hot take, but the Dolphins have already figured out that they don't have a quarterback. Okay? They've already figured it out. They barely beat the Patriots in week 1. They got shut out in week 2. Tua's not good. Tua's not a starting quarterback in this league. I am saying it right now. Week 3 of the NFL season, of Tua starting a whole season, Tua is not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
I didn't think he was good either last year.
So I'm saying the Dolphins, as long as he's not in jail for the rest of his life, will be trading for Deshaun Watson. And it could be this year to play next year, or it will be in the offseason.
Yeah.
And they will trade for him, and they will not have to pay as much as what the Texans are asking for. But the Dolphins are in trouble, and the Dolphins in this division can't be in trouble.
No.
And I'm saying it, the Dolphins lose this week to the Raiders, who are vastly better on defense than what people thought they were. And Derek Carr is, I think, legit a quarterback you can win with. And it may not be... I just remember the playoff year that he had where, what was it, the last game of the season he broke his leg?
Yes.
So that Raider team was dangerous.
Yeah, it was.
And you easily could have seen them winning a couple games in the playoffs and moving forward, whereas he broke his leg, so you go to your backup quarterback and you lose. And then all of a sudden it just, you trade away Khalil Mack. You trade away, and
get rid of everybody. Amari Cooper.
Yeah, and then you start over,
Yep.
and it's like, okay, but now you're seeing it. He's got a decent offensive line. They're decent enough at running back. And I think he loves Ruggs. And Waller is somebody that, even if you double team, he's going to get you 5-6 catches a game at least. And if you don't double team him, he will throw it to him every single play, just like he did against the Ravens.
Reminds me of Kittle.
Yeah, and so I think the Raiders at home will beat the Dolphins. I don't think it will be a shutout, but I think the Dolphins lose again.
I have the Dolphins winning, and I think this is mainly just a gut feeling because I also have the Raiders a little bit as I don't believe them still.
Okay.
And it's still early for me. I think their defense is good. I just don't see the the amount of weapons. They are going to be without Josh Jacobs. He won't be playing this weekend. I think that makes a big difference. A little bit of a difference. He is their primary lead running back. I think that takes away catches because he does get a few, not many, but a few. I will say, I don't know why I have a gut feeling of the Dolphins, but I think that Jacoby Brissett's a better quarterback than Tua is.
Okay.
I think he gets the ball out better. And I don't know if it's something personal with me. I don't know if it's something to do with left-handed quarterbacks. Something about Tua, just when he throws the ball, just looks different. And I know he's a lefty. It just comes off different. It's always a step behind his receivers. I don't know if it's a righty's game, but just something about lefties always disappoint at times.
Okay.
And I just don't see it out of Tua.
Okay.
Maybe I'm being harsh, but I think I agree with you. I don't think he's a good quarterback.
All right. And another game of the week. I think it's the game of the week.
Yeah.
You've got Bucks at Rams.
It's going to be a good game.
The Bucks defense scares me.
Bad. Like, because they're bad?
Because the secondary is bad. Your front seven is very good, but you don't need a good front seven against this Rams team. I still believe more in Tom Brady and the Bucs offense than I do in the Rams.
Yep.
And this is maybe just, crazy because I do think the Bucs are going to lose. And this is the perfect game that the Bucs could lose, where people start saying, "Oh, da 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 da," and then all of a sudden the Bucs decide to get that chip on their shoulder
and win another Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. But this is that game where I could see the Bucs easily losing, but I have the Bucs winning this game because I believe this offense the Bucs offense is scary.
Yeah.
And yes, the defense came alive in the second half last week, late, which I thought was good. I don't believe in the Rams' offensive line, which could be a problem because Stafford isn't he's mobile enough, but not mobile.
Yeah.
So I have the Bucs winning this game, but I have a feeling, you remember the Rams-Chiefs game a few years ago where it was like 51-48 or something like that? I have a feeling this is going to be a game like that where both teams are going to be, high 30s, low 40s.
So Tampa, last week, they played
Atlanta.
Falcons, right?
Yep.
And the week before that, they played Dallas.
Yep.
I will start off by saying I have the Buccaneers winning this game, but I went back and forth for an hour about this game.
So you were taking a dump?
What?
You were taking a dump?
I was, yeah. The Buccaneers having a win barely with Dallas. A win is a win. Let's be clear. It should have been higher than that. Dallas should not have been that close. And then the Falcons. That was a close game at multiple times against a really bad Falcons team. And again, Tom Brady had 2 interceptions against Dallas. I don't know how many interceptions he had in the Falcons. None. I didn't think so. He put like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But you allowed the Falcons to score that many points. Matthew Stafford is not the Falcons. This offense is not the same.
No.
Part of this game feels very scary if you're a Buccaneers fan because this is not the 2 teams you played the last 2 weeks. You got to remember, I would compare at times Dallas offense and the Rams offense as both being explosive. But the Rams have a defense that we didn't have. I feel a little trappy with this, but my gut says go with Tom Brady. He's the better quarterback here. But do not sleep on this Rams team.
Oh, no,
I think
I'm not.
No, I know you're not.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for whoever's listening when they do listen to this. The Rams are a good team, and if they win, I will not be surprised. But I will say
the Stafford hype train is going to go absolutely bonkers if he wins.
If he wins, the train will go crazy. But if he does win, people need to calm down on the Tom Brady thing. It's probably not going to be a 3-interception game from Tom Brady if they lose.
Right.
He'll probably still have a great game, and his defense will allow 500 yards. I could see this going either way, and this is a game I've circled. I really want to make sure I watch this game.
Yes. So now we've got Seahawks at the Vikings.
Yep. Excuse me, guys.
Tough luck Vikings. Who do you got in this game?
I have the Seahawks.
Okay.
It's a trust thing. You and a couple of the guys have been Vikings. A little this, a little bit of that. They're going to get there. Dude, the Vikings are bad. I don't think they're that good. I really don't. I think they have an average quarterback. Again, we talked about it with Dak, so Dak's average too, whatever. The weapons are there. The defense is bad. Dalvin Cook is the best player on their team, and he's still doubtful. I think he'll play, but
he's questionable.
Yeah, questionable. I think he'll play. The Seahawks have a better coach. They have a better quarterback. Their running back is okay. Their wide receivers are better. I would say maybe equal. I just feel like this is a game Seattle doesn't lose. Even though it's at the Vikings, I feel like the Vikings are going to find a way and lose this game. I think it's going to be another close one. A missed field goal, something stupid.
Okay.
But the Vikings are going to be a really decent 0-3 team. The close losses, they're not getting blown out like the Jets or anything. So.
All right. This is my upset of the week.
You got the Vikings beating the Seahawks.
I got the Vikings.
It's
and just from what they showed me against the Cardinals, and it wasn't defensively what they showed me against the Cardinals. It was all offense. But that offense is very good. If Cook doesn't play, this game is Seattle all the way. Yep. But I right now, as it is, it's my upset of the week. I do think the Vikings win. Again, you could easily, I hate this because I always crap on Logan for saying this. Shoulda, woulda, coulda crap. But shoulda, woulda, coulda been 2-0. Losing overtime when you should have won because of a late turnover. And then you drive down the field and you miss a 30-yard field goal with time expiring, and you don't do that. And I just feel the Vikings are there. It's just they figure it out at home, and they win.
That makes sense. See, I'm trying to be like what you said with the shoulda, coulda, woulda, trying to be better with the podcast now and with being a sports fan at that. People are like, well, we could have, like, even with Dallas, I haven't done it once this year. We're like, well, what if? There is no what ifs. You show up and you win. If you don't win, on Monday you talk about it with the coaches, what you did wrong.
Yeah, every game you could say what if. Again, with the Chargers, we'll go to Chargers-Dallas last week. What if they didn't have those 3 touchdowns called back?
Yeah.
What if Dallas, didn't have that, play, not the pass interference?
Yeah.
And should have been there. And
what if DeMarcus Lawrence was healthy? And
it's all sorts of.
I did it last year.
What if Burrow didn't throw 3 straight?
Yeah, I did the same thing last year with Dallas's injuries and the quarterback problem with DC. But there is no more what ifs. Your backup should play. Your other we didn't have DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons showed up. This is the same thing with the Vikings. No more missed field goal and then bad penalty. Yeah. Are you going to win or are you not going to win? Because you still have the opportunity to win your division.
Yes.
Think about that. Because
that division's wide open.
It's wide open. You have this chance still.
Yep.
So
and we're going to talk about the team that everybody
we're going to move right into them right now.
Packers 49ers.
Yep.
I didn't see enough from the Packers to say they figured it out.
Yep.
You beat a team you should have beaten. But at halftime, you were down 17-14. Now, your defense showed up in the second half and didn't give up any points, and your offense scored 21. You won 35-17. Aaron Jones won 35-17. Or Aaron Jones, I think, won 28-17.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, you rode Aaron Jones. Free Aaron Jones.
Matthew
Berry says it. Free Aaron Jones. He is... I will say this: he is the best player on your team,
and he's
and you have Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams on your team. Aaron, that team goes as Aaron Jones goes, and
it needs to run through him.
Yes, and I have more faith in the 49ers defense stopping this Packers offense than I have in the Packers defense stopping the 49ers offense. I have the 49ers winning this game at home, and a part of me wants to say it's going to be like a 2-score game. It's not going to be as close as people want it to be. I just do not believe in the Packers yet.
Yeah.
Now, if the Packers come out and put a foot in the 49ers' butt, I say Packers are head and shoulders the second best team in the NFC, and you can go from there. But I have the 49ers beating the Packers.
I have the 49ers winning because of their multiple look on everything they do. They can come out targeting Kittle most of the time. They can come out targeting Ayuk and Samuel, or they can do a 3 running back monster thing. They have so many options. Even when you least expect it, you're like, all right, guys, we're just going to blitz, and then you're like, oh shit, Trey Lance is in. You don't even realize that they've done that. They have this. I don't want to confuse it with college, but they have this multiple college look to them where you don't know what the hell they're about to do. Yep. They have a lot of motions in the backfield. They have multiple running backs that can catch the ball. I just don't. I find this as Packers are going to come in hot and they think they've got it. And I think the 49ers, with that defense, find a way to win this game by a close game.
Okay.
I actually think it comes down to a field goal. I think it'll be close.
Okay. All right. Then Monday night, Eagles-Cowboys. Eagles are 1-1. We don't talk a lot about the Eagles. We talk a lot about the Cowboys. The Eagles played a very good game against the 49ers.
Yes, they did.
They're not even in – I don't even think they're in that echelon of teams, but they played well enough.
Yep.
Defensively, they held their own.
Yes.
Offensively, they didn't do anything. But the 49ers only scored 17 points. It was 17-11, I think the final score was, which is just a weird score. But the Eagles are showing me that they know what they want to do.
They're playing with that underdog on their chip.
Yeah.
On their shoulder, that underdog chip.
But they have the identity. They know who their identity is, and they're not deviating from it.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very good thing for a team to have, especially a team that is rebuilding or starting over, and...
I think they're saying we're not good enough to win the division, but if we fuck around and win the division, we're okay with it.
Right.
But
does
that make sense?
At the same time, we're not good enough to go 500.
Yeah.
But if we're a game under 500,
that's
we'll surprise some teams.
I mean, a game under 500 could potentially put them winning the division like it did last year.
That being said, I don't think they beat Dallas at Dallas. I think it's Dallas's home opener, isn't it?
It's Dallas's home opener, first game since Dak broke his leg.
So I still don't believe in Dallas's defense.
Of course.
Your secondary is okay.
The secondary is worse than the front.
And I like Parsons, but there was a couple times in that Chargers game
He got lost.
where he ran himself out of position.
So one of the biggest issues, and I want to say this because it's something that really is passionate to me, because you're right. Micah Parsons, when he's on, looks like one of the best players in the league as a rookie. I mean, even if he wasn't a rookie, he's fantastic. But I have seen him overcommit to plays and miss the tackle in the backfield, or he overcommits and dives too early, like it's a video game.
Yes,
he makes that mistake a lot. But when he's on, he reminds me of Bosa at times. But when he's off, it's bad.
And the thing is against Herbert, he's a speed rusher. He's not a power rusher.
He's not.
So when he takes his angle, that's his angle.
Yeah.
And he went inside quite a few times, had the guy beat, but he wasn't disciplined, and Herbert got outside and threw the ball. Now,
and Hurts is a little different.
Yeah, and Hurts is going to, if you give him a 5-yard cushion, he's running 10 to 15 yards because he's that athletic.
Yeah.
And that's what scares me about Dallas's defense. I think Parsons is the real deal. I think it's a smart draft pick. You traded back to get him. I think he's going to be very good, okay? But his discipline scares me because, and I got on you guys when you said Parsons is a Von Miller, what's the other guy?
I said DeMarcus Ware.
DeMarcus
Ware. But I wasn't comparing him to DeMarcus Ware at all. But I was saying that he can play on the line and linebacker like Ware did.
There was always something about those two that was always disciplined.
Yeah.
And they very rarely were out of position.
Yeah.
And when you just have the athletic ability to put your head down and get by the guy, it's not necessarily the best thing for your defense.
Now, I will say I could see Micah Parsons being better at defensive end the more times he does it. He played it in high school, middle. Like, I know that's a long time ago. He has the understanding, but you got to remember, when we say Von Miller that could play on the line and in the secondary, Khalil Mack does it. DeMarcus Ware did it. We're thinking in like their 8th and 10th years. Micah Parsons was his first game doing it. I expect it to get better, but here's my thing, and I want to go into this game. This is my lock of the week. I have Dallas winning this game.
Okay.
I think the energy of Dak walking out of the tunnel, I just think it's going to be massive in there. I think it's going to be nuts. 110,000 people. It's going to be crazy. The Eagles are good, but there is something about the Dallas's defense I want to say, and I don't think it's good. It's getting there. A long way to go. This is a very long uphill battle, but I will say I am seeing a very different defense than I did last year. Mm-hmm. Dan Quinn is completely different. They have 87 different looks on defense. They're fast. They're mobile. Every time you throw the ball, there's three corners in your area. They're not good, and they're playing that way. They're not playing a lot of man because they're not good. Mm-hmm. They're playing a lot of zone. The problem with zone is it's bend, don't break. I think they're going to allow a lot of yards to the Eagles, but I just don't see the Eagles having enough weapons to beat us. I think our offense is good enough to beat their defense. I see the Eagles scoring more points than they have all year. I see them scoring 24, 25 points, but I could see Dallas being in the 30s, and I just don't – Dallas can't lose this game.
No.
If they win this game and Washington goes 0-2 and the Eagles lose, Dallas is leading the division, and even though I'm going to say it, even with the Eagles and Dallas and Washington, the whole division, Dallas still looks like the best team in the division at the moment. Mm-hmm. But again, so do the other teams. They all have heart.
Again, the division
is a bad division.
Yes.
It's what bad team looks the best. And
right.
I'll be honest, it is that.
Yeah.
But again, what did we say 3 weeks ago? And we're only focusing on Dallas a little bit more. Sorry, guys, because it's the last game of the night. But let's talk about the division real quick. It's like, what team did we talk about? And I know it's only week 3. We got a long way to go. Who figures it out first? The quarterback situation? Well, we know that's in D.C. is a problem now, unless Heineke is the guy. And I like him.
So I'll give you – they're all 1-1 except for the Giants, who are 0-2.
0-2.
Okay. Now, the NFC North is all 1-1.
Mm-hmm.
Is the NFC North better than the NFC East?
Top to bottom?
Yes.
Probably.
Okay. I see more out of the AFC North than I do out of the NFC East.
Well, you didn't bring up the North. Why are you throwing them in now?
Oh, no. I meant did I say NFC?
You said the NFC North.
Oh, AFC North.
Oh,
sorry.
absolutely,
AFC
100%.
North. AFC North is all 1-1. And Dallas and NFC East pretty much, 1-1. Right now that you're getting into the Pittsburgh playing the Bengals, so there was a division game in there where
And what you're going to see is you're going to see some false stats the next few weeks out of 2 of these teams because Dallas and Eagles have the 2 easiest schedules for the next 10 weeks, and I think you're going to see a lot of false stats in there. Washington's going to have a hard schedule. I think you're going to see false numbers here, but I think you're right. I think top to bottom, the AFC North is a much better division than the NFC East, but I think it's a scrappy division. Again, I've said this, and I'll continue to say it for everybody listening. Who figures it out first? What team in the NFC East figures it out? And it could be the fucking Eagles this weekend. Yeah. It could be the Eagles on Monday. They could figure it out and go, hey, look at us. We're playing like crap, and we're winning the division. That's proof that Dallas ain't that good, and neither is the DC team.
Right.
So I have this as my lock of the week. Cowboys need to win this game. They're a 7-point favorite. I could see that happening. But, again, the Eagles are going to go around and find a way to throw 3 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts will run for 1. Yep. It'll be higher scoring than people want.
Yep. Now, we're both 1-1 in our locks.
Yep.
And we're 2-0 in our upsets.
Yep.
So, the lock isn't always guaranteed. And this one, to me, is a risky lock. Like, mine's a lock, unless Kyler Murray,
Yep.
And DeAndre Hopkins and, break their feet.
I went back into my notes because I have 14 of the 16 weeks of last year. I only picked Dallas to win once. So this is my second time.
You were pretty accurate then.
Exactly. Because, again, Dak wasn't there for most of the season, but I didn't pick them very often. And honestly, even though I am a Dallas fan, I really don't pick them that often because it backfires on me. Right. I don't pick the other NFC East teams because, come on, I don't want to pick them either.
Yeah.
But this is the game they have to win. So I want to go through the same thing I did last year. Last week, the stardom, sit-ems, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you did anything like that.
I have the one stardom I have at wide receiver is Jamar Chase, simply because you have Higgins maybe out, and I do think they're going to take chances in this game. I think that Burrow and Chase and a couple other people on the offense said that we need to take the handcuffs off. I think they do this week. I also have a running back that I'm struggling with, but he's my start. I think you should start him, is Kenyon Drake. I don't think he's going to have a ton of yards, but he's going to have a ton of catches.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like he is, especially if, what's his name doesn't play.
Jacobs
doesn't play.
He's not going to play.
I think, Peyton Barber showed that he's still serviceable, but I think Drake is the number one option there without Jacobs. And I think, and I have him. I have those two as my starts. Tight end, I went back and forth on this one, and I'm picking Tonyan.
Robert Tonyan?
Yep, because I think he gets in the end zone. And that's the only reason why. I was trying to get cute and pick like a sleeper tight end that maybe you don't even have on your team that you could pick up.
I got a sleeper.
But tight end to me is just so top heavy that, of course, if you have one of the top 5, which is Andrews, Hawkinson, Kittle, Waller, and Kelsey, it's a lock it. You're starting them. Everybody else, you can make a case that, well, maybe I don't start him this week because of the matchup.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think Tonyan finds the end zone, so I picked Tonyan as my.
So my quarterbacks, I think you should start. I have usually 2 or 3 for each position. Jalen Hurts,
okay,
Dallas defense, Kirk Cousins,
okay,
and Matthew Stafford. So every quarterback I'm about to name are all between the 8 and 14 range. So if you have the next 3 I'm about to name, I would start the 3 I just named. So I just named Jalen Hurts, Kirk Cousins, Matthew Stafford. I would start them over Jameis Winston, Taylor Heineke, and Joe Burrow.
No.
You don't think so? Against the Browns defense, threw 3 interceptions last week? Fantasy-wise,
I start Burrow. I think it's a big game.
Okay.
I think it's a big game. I think Burrow doesn't throw an interception.
Oh.
And I think he has three touchdowns. I still don't think the Bengals win.
Okay.
But I think he has 3 touchdowns.
Are we going to make a bet? He won't throw an interception?
I mean, you can.
We don't have any bets.
No.
I bet he throws an interception.
Okay.
You bet he doesn't?
I bet he doesn't.
Okay, we'll talk about this next week.
All right.
My running back start Saquon Barkley and Antonio Gibson.
No on both.
Really?
I'm starting Gibson because he's a start. He's a lock it. I don't believe in that Giant offense that they know how to run the ball.
But it's against the Falcons.
Yeah,
I think he's in 3 weeks now. I don't know. I just have a feeling that, again, you're going to start him if you have him. There's no way you're putting Saquon or Zeke on your bench. And if somebody is, even though Zeke is not part of my start or sit him, you're still going to start him until you find out he has a broken ankle. My sits are CEH, James Robinson, and Devin Singletary.
Oh, CEH.
CEH.
Right.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, James Robinson, and Devin Singletary.
Man, I can't spell opposite.
OPPO.
I'm going to spell
Sight.
differs.
So CEH, James Robinson, and Devin Singletary. Wouldn't start any of those three.
Okay, I agree. I'm benching Singletary,
Yeah.
and it's either, and I put in the group chat. I have like 4 options that I'm trying to do. One other running back I want to mention, and again, I've mentioned him in the show. He's very underrated. Is James White. Mm-hmm. He's a big part of that offense.
Never start James White in fantasy. Never James White.
2 straight games, 6 targets, 60 yards receiving, plus a rushing touchdown in 2 straight weeks.
He'll have 2 fantasy points this week.
Maybe
that's his problem.
I like James White.
I like him more. I'll do what the fantasy show does. I like him more as a player than I do in fantasy.
Okay.
I've had him before, just like they've had him, and it screws me every year.
Okay.
He has those games. My starts are Cooper Kupp and Rondale Moore.
Okay.
I think if you're going to start Cooper Kupp, but Rondale Moore, if you got him on your bench, bring him up. Sit him, Marquez Callaway, and Quintez Cephas.
Yeah, Callaway's a drop for me.
Like 100%.
You drop him. I just picked up Cephas.
Yeah.
Not to start,
but
he's
to have, interesting
because he's arguably the number 1 wide receiver on that team.
If you're in a 2 flex league, I'd start him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
my tight end starts are Dallas Goedert against Dallas.
Okay.
And Jared Cook.
Okay. I have Cook in 1 league, and I just benched Goddard because I just got Mark Andrews.
Well, if you got Mark Andrews, you'd bench Goddard.
Yes.
But if Goddard's your only option versus maybe, I don't know, let's use like a Eric Ebron, you would start him against Dallas's defense.
Yes.
My sits are Eric Ebron and Mike Gesicki once again.
Okay.
I had him back-to-back week sit. Mike Gesicki is not proving to me that he has the name he's had. People are like, oh, Gesicki. I don't think he's playing up to the name at all.
No. Now, I want to bring up the trade I just made with Chandler.
Oh, okay.
Not with Mike. Not with Mike, no.
That trade's going to get me fired up.
It's, all right, so finally loaded, and I got to figure out the league that I did it in. All right, so it was this league. It was the Wet Booty League. And we're looking at, it's active. My internet's acting slow, so I apologize, folks.
He doesn't
care. It was Mark Andrews for Deebo Samuel. I had Goddard at tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I had Deebo Samuel as my flex. In a league where my team was very wide receiver heavy. Allen Robinson, T.J. McLaurin, Marvin Jones, T. Higgins, Jalen Waddle. I had all those guys on, my team. Now, Higgins is doubtful now, so when I made the trade, Higgins was playing. Yeah. But I also had Goddard as my tight end, and Goddard's only been getting a couple looks a game. That's why I don't feel this offense is tight end specific, and I don't think Hurts looks for the tight end.
No.
So that's why I feel Goddard is not somebody you can start.
But I feel like with Dallas's defense, the situation you're dealing with is the fact that they allow so many open plays. I think he's liable to mess around and get a touchdown in the end zone or two. I think he has that ability. Then we'll move into my defense starts, Broncos and Patriots.
Okay.
And my sit is the Chargers.
Okay.
I know the Chargers are like 11th right now in defense. I wouldn't start them against the Chiefs at all.
No.
But that's what I have for anybody who's listening and needs some help. That's what I looked up. That's my stuff I like to do.
There you go.
Got anything else, bud?
No. What's your game of the week? Is it Bucks Rams or is it?
So my game of the week is the Bucks Rams. But obviously, being a Dallas fan, I really love to beat up on the Eagles. I love NFC East games. I know you really love. I know you love AFC North games or even AFC East. There's just something about even though the Jets suck, when the Patriots and the Jets play, you got to watch. And for me, I am going to definitely be tuning into the Rams and Buccaneers. But I can't wait for Monday Night Football. I love it.
I'm really looking forward. This is a statement game for the Bengals.
Yes.
It really is. It's a statement game. It's a game that if you are on the rise, this is a game you win.
Yep.
But my game of the week is definitely Bucks Rams. But I do like the Colts Titans also and Chargers Chiefs. I think those are
they're all going to be interesting.
So, but other than that, we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. See you guys next week.